kretsu.
It was late 2014, around 5 years ago. In one fine morning, I walked into the bathroom just to leave my mark, to mark my territory, to take a shit, only to realize that I did the grave mistake of forgetting to bring in my phone with me. Now, I do realize it does sound scary, but it was fine. I survived. Actually, it was better than fine. That day, something special happened. As I sat there letting my mind wander around, picking and reading any shampoo bottle and soap I can reach, something else caught my eye. It was a plastic trash can we had near the sink. One of those cheap trash cans you would find in Daiso. The trash can had a label on it with a cartoon character and some writings on the side. Now, it was those writings. These weird looking letters that caught my eye that day. I remember sitting there that day and just trying to make sense of the random scribbles I was seeing. At the time, I didn't know they were called kanjis. It truly mesmerized me. I did see these characters all the time before, like you would see them behind anything made in Japan or China. But that day was the first time I actually stopped and looked at them properly. And the only thought that was louder than anything in my mind was, how in the world do people look at these and understand things with them? How the heck is it even? But like, Japanese people must be the smartest people on earth, or like I don't know, Chinese people too maybe. And then I thought to myself, how cool would it be if I could read and understand them as well? And that's where it all started. I mean, some people start from anime, some people start from the culture, but a trash can near the sink of our bathroom started my love for the Japanese kanji. I do understand it sounds gross, but it's true, that's what really happened. Now, after some googling around, I understood the basic structure of the Japanese writing system, and like being excited me, I started with the hiragana and katakana first, like everyone else, but I was too excited that shit was easy. I remember just going through them within a week or so. I just wanted to learn the kanji, to be honest, and it only seemed appropriate just to finish the hiragana and katakana first. But when it came time to start learning the kanji, I remember I had that, let's say, rational fear that this was going to be one of those things that I will get excited about for a while and then eventually just abandon. I mean, it happened before and it sucks. You would feel like such a failure of a human being. I'm pretty sure some of you guys can maybe relate to what I'm talking about, maybe, hopefully. So before I started, I remember just walking in front of a mirror and just talking to myself about it and saying, Ammar, you know, this might be one of those things that you would just leave, and that's okay. The only reason you are studying the kanji is just for fun. It doesn't matter if you quit halfway through. But for some reason, that assurance made me feel a lot more encouraged, and knowing that I have nothing to lose, I started with the kanji. Not knowing how to or where to start, I started by looking on YouTube for anything and everything kanji. I was looking for the best way possible to study the kanji quickly and efficiently, and oh boy, I looked for a while. And most what's out there, I'm sorry to say it, is just useless trash, until I stumbled upon this guy. This guy is Katz. He runs a website called AJAT, which stands for All Japanese All the Time. Katz doesn't teach you Japanese, but he teaches you how to learn Japanese. And if there are any videos worth watching in YouTube about learning Japanese ever, in my opinion, there are these 3 videos. I'll put up links in the description below. The quality of the videos are shit, but the information in them are priceless. From one of those videos, I got introduced to the Heisei method of learning the kanji, and from that point it took me around 88 days to learn 2,200 Joyo kanji. It was a lot of work, but it was fun work. It was totally worth it. It took around 2 to 2.5 hours every day, just like me sitting, writing and learning the kanji. I had a whole stack of physical paper cards for each kanji I learned. I did understand at the time that there were more effective methods to make flashcards, but something about having a physical stack of papers made it feel a lot more exciting for me. Now, and I remember every time I learned like 100 more kanjis, I would sit and go through the entire deck again, like remembering the kanji, and then another time like just writing them down. Now it might be late in the video, but let me just introduce myself really quickly. My name is Ammar. I've been living in Japan for about 4.5 years now. I study mechanical engineering in a Japanese university in Tochigi-ken, Japan. Not gonna tell you where. Yoroshiku. Well, initially the plan for this video was to be a practical tutorial on how to learn the kanji in less than 3 months. But then I realized that it would be better to start by explaining why you should learn the kanji first. If you're interested in learning Japanese, I would still like to make a short practical video of how I learned the kanji in the first place, but that will have to be for later. And a short explanation for the video you're watching right now. I thought that if I was to make a tutorial on how to learn the kanji, I will have to actually remember the kanji. So this is just me revising the kanji after almost 5 years. Revising them in the Heisig method. Initially, I thought it would take me around a day, but I overestimated my abilities a little bit too much, and it took me around 33 hours, spread into 5 days. But this is what's nice about the Heisig method, that if you learn them once in the beginning, they will stick with you for a really long time, granted you're learning Japanese during that time. If you're watching this and you're already studying Japanese, I don't really have to sell you on why it's really important to study the kanji. But if you are thinking of studying or working in a Japanese company or in Japan in general, it's so important that you be able to read and write Japanese comfortably. You don't have to be perfect, but it's still really important. In a matter of fact, even if you just want to live in Japan, kanji can be really useful when you're paying your bills or going shopping or just like renewing your visa. But let me explain to you why I think learning the kanji first is really important. Learning the kanji before you start to learn any Japanese will exponentially speed up your Japanese learning. For example, if it takes another student an hour to learn 10 words, it would take you less than 10 minutes. And the more you learn, the faster you get. I would say like learning the kanji was the main reason I passed into within the first 9 months of starting to study Japanese. That's including the 3 months it took me to learn the kanji themselves. And learning the kanji also like helped me get my N1 way faster than most of my peers. And I apologize if you don't know what N1, N2 stands for. These are just the levels in the JLPT exam. The JLPT just stands for Japanese Language Proficiency Test. And I think every foreigner who lives in Japan knows that if you want to work in Japan, aiming for to take N2 and N1 is really important, because a lot of Japanese companies require that from foreigners. Even though the Heisig method is no secret and there are a lot of videos just talking about it, in my 4 years living in Japan and meeting a lot of foreign students with me, I have never met anyone who knew about it, which is surprising. It's a low-hanging fruit that no one seems to care to pick. So this is an attempt to simply explain what the method is. Of course, the method is explained more extensively in the book Remembering the Kanji by James Heisig. And also I'm gonna link to a video that would explain why remembering the kanji is the best way to learn the kanji. That's the title of the video. It's by Matt vs. Japan. I highly encourage you to check out this channel too. It has a lot of gems. Now, for example, what pops in your mind when you see this character? A. What about this one? R. V. You don't need to even think about it. You just see the character and know what it is. And the Heisig method is basically changing the kanjis into letters. But instead of remembering or associating the kanji or the character with a sound, you're associating it with a word. And most of the time, that word is kind of related to the meaning of the character. In short, 2,200 characters are associated with 2,200 words. That's it. You don't need to learn onyomi, you don't need to learn kunyomi, you don't need to learn all their meanings. That's it. You just associate each character with a word. And you might be asking yourself, Ammar, how is that even useful? What it does is, by the end, almost all Japanese text you see is going to be familiar to you. And each character has a word or a meaning to it, increasing your comprehension even when you are reading words you have never seen before. So what happens after 3 months is that even if you pass by a Japanese word in a split second, you can recall it and write it down. So for example, if you're reading a book or you pass by a sign that has a word that you didn't understand, it would be so much easier for you just to recall that word and write it down, search for its meaning, than if you are seeing the kanji for the first time in your life. And that's it. That's actually all of it. Using this method will help you stop looking at the kanji as something hard that you need to cram, but an actual tool that will help you out in your learning process.